Hey everybody, so just want to do a quick video. Again, I don't really have access to a crew right now, so to speak. So what I'm going to be doing is talking about just the history of the bow staff. I have one right here. You probably can't really see it, but I'm going to talk about the history and just the specs of what a bow staff usually looks like. So the bow staff is actually just colloquially called the bow or staff. You don't actually call it a bow staff, but that just seems to be more the street name, I guess. But the actual technical term is the Roku Shakubo, which I believe literally translates to 6-foot piece of wood, literally. The normal bow is around 1.8 meters or 71 inches in length. There are variations called the Joe, which is like 4 feet, and the Hanbo, which is more like 2 feet. Not very large at all. So the basic history of the bow is you had a history of the bow since before record even showed. So we don't really even know the origins based off of record of the bow, really. But legend has it that it was originally used to carry around pails of water. And there were hooks on the ends to do that. But there's no real record to show that's how it got its start. But that's what the legend says. As far as the history beyond the origins goes, there's some record of it, being in China, Malaysia, Vietnam, Japan, of course, which Okinawan karate, or Okinawan Kobudo, which is my style, obviously comes from Okinawa, and same thing with the bow, which is where it got the name bow from, is Okinawa, Japan. Some interesting facts about the history of the design is, obviously they had to pull the hooks out because if you didn't, you probably would have gotten the hook stuck in your opponent, and good luck swinging your bow after you get hook stuck in your opponent, right? So eventually it got replaced with bow staves with metal like orbs on them, I guess. But that was more for more bludgeoning damage. But that ended up becoming a design flaw because it was just too heavy to wield, with any relative ability. To add on to that, though, after getting rid of the metal pads on them, you have the normal combat bow, which is just a big old huge white oak 6-foot rod of just pure madness. That's the most common form. Of course, once we get into the modern century, the need for actual bow jutsu combat became less popular, and it became more showy. So you end up with designs like this, which you really probably wouldn't really hurt anybody with it. You'd be more likely to just break your bow. But it became more about being able to perform with it. So it needed to be more lightweight. The material needed to change from just wood, oak and wood, to plywood and graphite. So that you could swing it more easily and more quickly. But my recommendation when you actually do train is to train with an actual white oak wooden bow, simply for the weight. Because if you can spin around a wooden bow, even if you're not using it for combat, once you go to competition, whenever you move to one of these show bows, you'll always be able to move that show bow around a lot more efficiently than you would that normal bow. So keep in mind, when training, yes, use a regular bow. But once you go to the tournament, it's really just fine to use a show bow. It just is more of a nicer show, which is why it's designed the way it is. So that's the history and origins of the bow. Go ahead and work on your previous exercises if you haven't had a chance to. If you have, work on it some more. Go and give this video a listen. Try to pay attention to some of the vocabulary. Also, like this video, share, subscribe, ring the bell, all the other buttons that YouTube algorithm demands. And stand by.